A pretrial motions hearing continues for the alleged mastermind behind the killing of Memphis rapper Young Dolph. Hernandez Govan is facing several charges, including first-degree murder for the 2021 shooting. Govan, one of the prime suspects in the rapper's death, is now out of jail on a $90,000 bond.
After posting a staggering $90,000 bond, Hernandez Govan, the man prosecutors claim is the mastermind behind Young Dolph's brutal assassination, vanished without a trace. He completely ghosted his scheduled July 28, 2025 court appearance, and the judge wasted no time issuing a stern warning, saying jail might be the only place left to properly supervise him. But the situation grows even more intense. Yo Gotti, one of Memphis's most influential rap figures, still hasn't denied any potential connection to Dolph's murder. Not a single public statement. That silence is raising serious suspicions and fueling talk that this could be one of hip-hop's most dangerous and deeply rooted rivalries to ever surface. Everything circles back to the infamous 2021 killing of Young Dolph.
What could be happening is that you could be in jail. And it's a whole lot easier to supervise you there.
Now, the spotlight is burning bright on Hernandez Govan. Although he continues to plead not guilty, prosecutors insist he was the one who orchestrated the entire scheme. They allege Govan set the plan into motion, arranging a targeted hit on Young Dolph. Real name, Adolph Thornton Jr., with a staggering $100,000 bounty. That money, they claim, came directly from Anthony Big Jook Mims, the older brother of Yo Gotti himself. Rewind to November 17, 2021. The tragic day Dolph was gunned down while buying cookies at Makeda's homemade butter cookies in South Memphis. Almost immediately, speculation spread that this was no random robbery. It was a calculated, cold-blooded execution.
Prosecutors say the rapper's murder was ordered after he wrote lyrics that disrespected someone from a...
Police eventually named 4 suspects. Justin Johnson, also known as Straight Drop, was allegedly the trigger man. Cornelius Smith was reportedly the getaway driver. And another shooter was identified, deepening the complexity of the plot and showing this wasn't just about street beef, but something far more orchestrated and strategic. Then there's Shundale Barnett, charged as an accessory. But sitting at the very top of the alleged hierarchy is Hernandez Govan, the man prosecutors claim orchestrated the entire hit from start to finish. And here's where things get even darker.
An aspiring rapper known as Straight Drop wanted to be part of the CMG record label and is innocent. He places blame on a third defendant charged in Dolph's death,
Govan reportedly received the original order directly from Anthony Big Jook Mims, Yo Gotti's older brother, and passed it down the chain to Justin Johnson and Cornelius Smith. This isn't just internet speculation. The information came straight from Cornelius Smith himself in a sworn proffer that flipped the entire case on its head. Multiple media outlets blew the story wide open after unsealed court documents dropped in mid-2024. Then, on September 23, 2024, the courtroom was stunned when Smith took the stand and dropped a bombshell confession. He admitted that he and Justin Johnson were the 2 masked men captured on surveillance footage outside Makeda's homemade butter cookies, the same tragic location where Young Dolph was mercilessly gunned down in broad daylight on November 17, 2021. That chilling footage shows the pair stepping out of a white Mercedes moments after Dolph pulled into the parking lot. Seconds later, chaos erupted. They opened fire with military-style precision, turning the scene into a war zone. Dolph was hit 22 times before collapsing on the pavement, alone, critically wounded and bleeding out. But Smith's testimony didn't stop there. He confirmed that the motive was nothing more than cold, hard cash. Both he and Johnson were promised $40,000 each for carrying out the hit. Govan, acting as the middleman, allegedly pocketed his own $10,000 cut from each shooter for organizing and coordinating the assassination. And here's where it gets even more twisted. Smith revealed that he only ever received $800 before his arrest.
You can find Johnson guilty or not guilty on 3 different charges. Number 1, conspiracy to commit first-degree murder. 2, first-degree murder. And the 3rd, a convicted felon in possession of a firearm.
Meanwhile, his defense attorney mysteriously received a $50,000 wire transfer, money that investigators believe was sent by Big Jook himself following the murder, raising even more questions about who was truly pulling the strings behind the scenes. That money trail sparked even deeper suspicion, and Smith's testimony painted a disturbing picture of his mental state during the events leading up to young Dolph's death. Still grieving the tragic loss of his 9-year-old son, addicted to pills and financially desperate, Smith admitted he felt completely numb to the world around him. "I wasn't feeling nothing at the time. I was just trying to get some money," he told the court when prosecutors asked what it felt like to take another man's life. His chilling words underscored the desperation and detachment that fueled the plot. Meanwhile, Justin Johnson, facing charges of first-degree murder, conspiracy, and multiple weapons violations, sat motionless in the courtroom as his attorney attempted to dismantle Smith's credibility.
And why is that?
Because I think even the district attorney said, "I didn't hear this, but I understand it was said on the news that he's not the shooter."
The defense argued that the video evidence was circumstantial and that Smith was fabricating details in a desperate bid for leniency. But by then, it was too late. The jury had already drawn its conclusions. Just 3 days later, on September 26, 2024, Johnson was found guilty on all counts and sentenced to life in prison without the possibility of parole. The verdict landed like a hammer, and with Smith's confession fresh in everyone's mind, attention immediately shifted to Hernandez Govan, the man Smith had directly linked to the entire operation. Smith's testimony didn't just incriminate himself and Johnson, it mapped the chain of command all the way back to Govan. He described Govan as the key coordinator, the one pulling strings behind the scenes, handing out orders, and allegedly overseeing every step of the hit. According to unsealed court documents, Govan didn't just have knowledge of the plan. He actively participated. He allegedly met multiple times with Johnson and Smith to deliver bounty details straight from Big Jook, mapped out how payments would be routed, and gave the final green light before the hit was executed. Because of this alleged leadership role, prosecutors are now coming down on Govan with maximum force. First-degree murder, conspiracy to commit murder, and attempted murder, all tied to his suspected orchestration of one of hip-hop's most infamous assassinations. The evidence trail is painting a damning picture. Between the documented money transfers, detailed text messages, carefully coordinated logistics, and sworn witness statements, federal investigators argue there's little doubt left. Hernandez Govan was the alleged mastermind behind Young Dolph's assassination. With Justin Johnson already convicted of first-degree murder and Jamarcus Johnson, Justin's own brother, pleading guilty to accessory charges, the walls are closing in on Govan fast. He now stands as the final key figure who could either confirm the entire conspiracy or attempt to dismantle it from the inside. But what's making his situation even worse is his own online footprint. In 2022, months before Dolph's killing, Govan posted cryptic messages on Facebook referencing sacrifices and becoming a god. When questioned about those disturbing posts in court, he dismissed them as nothing more than artistic expression. Prosecutors, however, are now pushing to include those posts as evidence, arguing they reveal motive and state of mind, potentially strengthening their case before a jury. The controversy didn't stop there. After originally being denied bail, Govan shocked the public when he was granted release in May 2024 on a $90,000 bond. The conditions were strict, 24/7 house arrest and GPS ankle monitoring. But the fact that a man accused of organizing the assassination of a hip-hop icon was able to walk free before trial caused widespread outrage. Many questioned how someone facing such severe charges could be released at all. Initially, Govan's trial was set for July 28, 2025, but that date has now been postponed to August 18, 2025, and legal analysts believe this delay is no coincidence. Some speculate that Govan's defense team is using the extra time to dismantle Cornelius Smith's explosive testimony, hoping to weaken the prosecution's narrative before the trial begins. Others suspect a far bigger picture, that federal prosecutors could be quietly building a RICO indictment, one that might implicate a broader network of individuals, potentially including higher-ups in Memphis's rap scene and beyond. Either way, the next court date is shaping up to be pivotal. The stakes couldn't be higher, and the next few months could determine whether Govan faces life behind bars or whether an even larger conspiracy will finally be exposed in full. The real turning point in the Young Dolph murder investigation came in June 2024, when a proffer interview sent shockwaves through the courtroom and beyond. Under oath, Cornelius Smith, already a key witness in the case, named Hernandez Govan directly, removing any remaining doubt about who orchestrated the hit. It was no longer speculation or rumor. Smith testified that Govan personally met with him and Justin straight-dropped Johnson multiple times, laying out every step of the plan and explicitly telling them that the $100,000 bounty to assassinate Young Dolph came directly from Big Jook Mims, Yo Gotti's older brother and right-hand man. Smith's testimony didn't stop there. He revealed that Govan assured them they would be protected after the job was done, claiming the orders had been cleared from the top, language that sounded more like a scene from an organized crime operation than a rap feud. This statement instantly resonated with what many in Memphis had suspected since day one, that Dolph's murder was no random act of violence, but a coordinated hit ordered from inside Yo Gotti's circle. The feud between Yo Gotti and Young Dolph had always run deeper than music. Tensions exploded back in 2017 after Dolph released his now infamous diss track, Play with Yo B***H***. Not long after, he was shot in Los Angeles, barely surviving the attack. The message was clear. This was a real-life conflict that had escalated beyond lyrical competition. For Memphis, Dolph's death wasn't just the loss of a rapper, it was the death of a community figurehead. Known for handing out thousands of turkeys every Thanksgiving, purchasing and renovating foreclosed homes for struggling families, and creating opportunities for local talent through his Paper Route Empire label, Dolph's impact extended far beyond music. His assassination left a wound in the city that has yet to heal. Meanwhile, Govan's name had been surrounded by controversy for years. Even before this case, he was repeatedly linked to gang activity, major drug operations, and violent plots, though he managed to avoid convictions. And tragedy followed him too. In 2022, his daughter, rising rapper Lada Cash Desto, was gunned down in Houston. After her death, Govan made a cryptic online post suggesting it was spiritual karma for the things he had done in his life. This disturbing connection, combined with Smith's testimony, has painted a picture of a deeply entrenched criminal conspiracy, one that's now threatening to unravel the entire Memphis rap underworld. With Govan now directly implicated and Big Jook's alleged involvement on record, the investigation is entering a phase that could expose far more than anyone initially imagined. Those deleted social media posts, the ones Govan once brushed off as artistic expression, are now front and center in the prosecution's case. Authorities are pushing hard to have them entered into evidence, arguing they reflect a deeper mindset and possible intent behind the murder plot. And if Govan is ultimately convicted, the consequences will be devastating. He's facing life in prison without the possibility of parole, a sentence that would mark the final chapter in one of hip-hop's darkest criminal sagas. The tension only escalated when a bombshell investigative report from moguldom.com reignited public interest and suspicion. The article, titled Popular Hip-Hop YouTuber, Here Are the Pieces Coming Together, connected dots that many had speculated about, but few had seen laid out so clearly. It alleged that Hernandez Govan maintained direct ties to key figures linked to Yo Gotti's label, Collective Music Group, CMG. These weren't loose or coincidental associations, they were deep-rooted connections, intertwined with long-standing street alliances and bitter rivalries. One chilling layer of speculation centers on the tragic death of Govan's daughter, rising rapper Lada Cash Desto, who was gunned down in Houston in 2022. Rumors swirled that her murder might have been retaliation, a grim consequence of the violent cycles and power plays that have defined Memphis street politics for decades. Meanwhile, Big Jook, Yo Gotti's brother, was repeatedly seen in public with Govan at events around Memphis, fueling even more speculation. While nothing has been formally confirmed in court, many in the streets believe Govan was not acting on his own. Instead, they argue he was part of a much larger network, one that was deeply entrenched in the city's underground power struggles and loyalty lines. This case is no longer just about one man's actions. It's about Memphis as a whole, a city where personal vendettas, business rivalries, and generational grudges blur together. And at the center of it all stands Young Dolph, a symbol of independence and defiance. Through his Paper Route Empire label, Dolph built a movement that challenged the dominance of Gotti's CMG, shifting the balance of influence in Memphis hip-hop. That tension didn't stay confined to diss tracks and lyrical jabs. it erupted into real violence. Fans have long connected the dots between Dolph's murder and a series of previous attacks. In 2017, he was shot multiple times in Hollywood, but survived. That same year, his SUV was sprayed with over 100 bullets in Charlotte, a targeted ambush that left no doubt about the stakes involved. All of these incidents form a chilling timeline, one that now appears to be leading straight to the courtroom, where prosecutors hope to expose the full scope of the conspiracy behind one of rap's most shocking assassinations. No official evidence has ever directly tied CMG or Yo Gotti to those previous shootings, but the timing, patterns, and history surrounding them have kept speculation alive for years. What makes this story so intense is that the feud between Young Dolph and Yo Gotti was never just lyrical. It was deeply personal. Industry insiders have long claimed that the bad blood began when Gotti allegedly tried to sign Dolph to CMG, but Dolph declined the offer without hesitation. That rejection reportedly bruised Gotti's ego and set the stage for years of escalating tension both in the studio and, allegedly, in the streets. Things took a darker turn in 2017 when Dolph was ambushed outside the Loews Hotel in Hollywood. Law enforcement named Yo Gotti as a person of interest in that shooting, though he was never charged. For many fans and observers, that moment marked a major shift. The rivalry had gone from subliminal disses and competitive tension to something far more sinister and potentially deadly. Later that same year, Dolph poured gasoline on the fire with the release of Play Wit Yo B***H***, a diss track that wasn't just another jab. It was a scorched earth lyrical assault. In it, Dolph accused Gotti of being jealous, weak, and fake, clowning him in front of the entire hip-hop community. It was a move that many saw as crossing a line, and for Gotti and his camp, that level of public disrespect reportedly made reconciliation impossible. Now with Big Jook, Yo Gotti's brother, allegedly linked to what many are calling the biggest hit in Memphis rap history, that decades-long feud is being re-examined in a completely new light. Prosecutors haven't directly connected Yo Gotti himself to the assassination plot, but that hasn't stopped fans, bloggers, and armchair investigators from piecing together their own theories online. Some online sleuths claim that CMG-affiliated shell companies may have been used to move money down the chain to lower-level hitters. And while the public has yet to see a complete release of phone records and subpoenaed communications, whispers suggest that contact between Gotti, Big Jook, and Hernandez Govan might run deeper than previously thought. With so much smoke swirling around this case, the question many are now asking is no longer if Govan was taking orders from Big Jook. It's how far up the chain those orders might have gone. And for a city like Memphis, where loyalty, reputation, and revenge often collide, the possibility that Yo Gotti himself could be implicated, even indirectly, is fueling speculation like never before. Now, as the trial inches closer and more evidence threatens to surface, one question hangs over everything. Where exactly does Yo Gotti stand in all this? And if prosecutors follow the money and communication trails far enough, will his name finally be dragged into the center of the case? Meanwhile, Jamarcus Johnson, the half-brother of convicted shooter Justin Johnson, managed to escape with probation after admitting he helped the suspects in the aftermath of Young Dolph's murder. If he successfully completes a court-approved diversion program, his record could even be wiped clean. A shocking outcome considering his involvement. But don't think that means he's walking away scot-free. Cornelius Smith, the prosecution's star witness who flipped on the operation, still has serious legal battles ahead. Despite his cooperation, Smith faces a looming trial and possible prison time. The deal he struck only reduces the damage. It doesn't erase it. Now, all eyes are locked on Hernandez Govan. In just a few weeks, he's scheduled to return to court, and prosecutors believe he might be the missing piece in this complex puzzle. If Govan cracks under pressure, confesses, or is found guilty, it could validate years of rumors, tying CMG, deep-seated street politics, and a coordinated chain of violence directly to Dolph's murder. But if he beats the case, many believe he could be remembered as the fall guy, the man prosecutors sacrificed to shield more powerful figures from exposure. Either way, one thing is certain. This story won't end with Govan's verdict. The murder of Young Dolph has morphed into something much bigger. A storm fueled by retaliation, unspoken alliances, and legal maneuvers stretching far beyond the original crime. Yo Gotti's continued silence only adds to the tension, with some calling it fear and others believing it's a calculated move to stay insulated from the chaos. What's clear is that Dolph's death did more than take a life. It triggered a chain reaction that has rattled the Memphis rap scene, reshaped industry alliances, and exposed the violent undercurrents beneath the surface of hip-hop. It's a legal, cultural, and social earthquake that shows no signs of slowing down. And that wraps up this chapter, but the story is far from over. If you made it this far, don't forget to like, share, and drop a comment with your thoughts, especially if you're from Memphis. And hit that subscribe button so you don't miss what's coming next. The next chapter in this saga could change everything.